The most complicated and difficult hero is finally coming to the Gorge. With an insanely complex skill set and a passive that literally lets you copy every single hero in the game, Yango is about to change everything. Hey everyone, a new hero is coming to the Gorge, and it's none other than Yango. He is definitely the most complicated hero in the game right now, and he's officially releasing on March 11th in the global server. This is huge because it means we will finally have the main protagonist Klein's skin from the Lord of the Mysteries Collab. In today's video, I'll talk about his skills in full detail and as simply as possible so you can better understand and master him when he arrives. So without further ado, let's get started. First, let's talk about his passive called Occult Arts, Manipulation. Yango and his puppet can collect items called hero fragments whenever their basic attacks hit an enemy hero. Basically, his standard recovery or heal button is replaced by a fragment backpack where he stores these. He can store up to 150 fragments in total, and he also generates them passively over time. Once you consume 50 fragments, Yango can create a special hero puppet that mimics a specific enemy hero for 10 seconds. This basically lets you copy the enemy's entire kit, inheriting their exact abilities. However, you have to be careful because this special hero puppet deals reduced damage and takes extra damage from enemies. But these penalties can be slightly offset by Yango's bonus physical attack and bonus health. This means you need a deep understanding of every hero in the game to use this effectively. Now let's move on to his first skill. On the main body, it is called Occult Arts Umbra. Yango throws his puppet forward, dealing physical damage and knocking up enemies along its path. As soon as you throw it, you immediately transfer control to the puppet. The puppet's basic attacks deal physical damage, and the cool part is that it inherits most of Yango's equipment and buffs, and it even shares earned gold and experience. You can use this to scout or farm safely. But here is the catch. If the puppet wanders too far from Yango for too long, it automatically despawns. And if enemies manage to destroy the puppet, Yango's vision is exposed, he gets stunned for a short duration, and the puppet cannot be summoned again for a while. However, when Yango chooses to recall the puppet, his main body is cleansed of crowd control effects, gains a temporary movement speed boost, and receives a large shield. On the puppet form, this skill is called Occult Arts Return. While controlling the puppet, Yango can use this skill to immediately recall the puppet back to his main body. As the puppet flies back, it deals physical damage and knocks up any enemies caught in its return path. Next is his second skill. On the main body, it is called Occult Arts Ji Chu Luan. Yango throws out 4 weapons in a cone formation. This deals physical damage to any enemies hit in their path. If a single enemy is struck by multiple weapons consecutively, the damage of the subsequent hits is reduced by 50%. On the puppet form, this skill is called Occult Arts Substitution. Yango instantly swaps positions with his puppet. If the puppet is too far away from Yango's main body, it will only dash a maximum set distance toward him, dealing physical damage to enemies along its path. However, there is a special mechanic here. If this skill is used while the puppet is actively binding an enemy using the second phase of its third skill, it will instantly pull Yango's main body directly to the puppet's location and transfer control back to Yango. Moving on to the third skill. On the main body, it is called Occult Art Shadow Crucifixion. Yango leaps backward to create distance while throwing out 2 crossing silk threads. Each thread deals physical damage to the enemies it hits. But you want to aim for the center, because if an enemy is caught directly in the intersection and hit by both threads, they take additional physical damage based on their missing health and are significantly slowed for a short duration. On the puppet form, this skill is called Occult Arts Binding. The first tap deals physical damage to nearby enemies and reduces their movement speed. If you activate the skill a second time within a short window, it enters its second phase. After a brief delay, the puppet roots itself and continuously stuns nearby enemies while dealing ongoing magic damage over time. This is his main crowd control tool. And finally, his ultimate or fourth skill. On the main body, it is called Occult Art Dispersal. Yango briefly disappears, cleansing himself of crowd control effects, and reappears at a designated location after a short delay. It is basically a free flash and purify combined. However, note that this ability cannot be used to cleanse the specific stun effect Yango suffers if his puppet is destroyed by enemies. On the puppet form, this skill is called Occult Arts Breakout. The puppet dashes in a designated direction, dealing physical damage to enemies along its path. If this dash is used while the puppet is actively binding an enemy during the second phase of its third skill, it will immediately break the bind and transfer control back to Yango's main body. So overall, even though Yango is technically an assassin, you have to understand that his cooldowns are actually way too high to be effective in the jungle. Because of this, you really have to play him in the clash lane to get the most out of his kit. Also, you cannot play him dangerously and just dive in without a plan. He is extremely squishy, so you need to be very careful with your main body placement, or you will get killed instantly. I would strongly suggest you practice him with versus AI mode first, and then try him in normal games. And honestly, do not even think about playing him in ranked unless you want to get reported by your entire team. This hero requires actual skills and strategic planning. He's not some overpowered hero where you can just spam buttons and somehow get a kill. That is simply not going to work here. But even with all this difficulty, if you can actually master him, you will be considered a legend in the Gorge. Here's a recommended build for Yango. And that's it for today's video. Let me know what you think. Are you brave enough to main Yango, or are you gonna ban him every game? Leave a like if you enjoyed this guide and subscribe for more content like this. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.